Game 6s. Big night of the NBA on ESPN2 and ESPN. We begin with Game 6 in the East. The 4-5 matchup. Cleveland trying to eliminate Washington for the third straight year. The Wizards try to force a Game 7. So many subplots that we'll dive into here as we get set for tip. Mike Tirico, Doris Burke with you in our nation's capital. Here are tonight's starting lineups for the Cavaliers. They remain unchanged. Delonte West from D.C. and Wally Szczerbiak in a slump in the backcourt. LeBron James, Adrinas Ilgauskas, and Ben Wallace up front. As for the Wizards, no Gilbert Arenas rest of the series with his knee problem. So Antonio Daniels and Deshaun Stevenson start in the backcourt. Caron Butler off a huge Game 5, 32 points with Brendan Haywood and Antoine Jamison. Now, missing man off the bench is Darius Sungaila. Rick Bucher has more on that.
I do indeed. The Wizards found out this morning at the end of their shoot-around that they would be without Sungaila because the league had suspended him from striking LeBron James in the face in the first quarter of Game 5 on Wednesday. Stu Jackson told me that the reason they did that is because they did not see it as a continuation of a basketball play, but a deliberate action. Now, the Wizards have two beats. One, they say that James hit Andre Blatch with an elbow in Game 1 that was far more lethal. And two, the timing of it came a full 2 days after the incident. Had they known earlier, they would have used Blatch, Sungaila's replacement, not on the scout team, but in the regular rotation. However, Mike, there's some question of just what Sungaila could have given them because he's got a bad back as a result of a collision at the end of that game.
That's interesting, Rick. We haven't heard a lot about that. The Cavs in the wine and gold, Wizards in the home white. Our officials as assigned by the NBA, two 22-year vets, Steve Jabby and Ken Maurer, along with Tom Washington, rock-solid crew on this game. Doris, what are you looking for early in this Game 6?
Well, I think ideally, if you're Washington, you get Caron Butler off to a similar start. 14 of his career-high 32 points came in the first period.
There'll be a game in Cleveland on Sunday if Washington can win. If not, the Cavaliers will go to Boston for Game 1, or perhaps sit around and wait if Atlanta and Boston go to 7 games. A lot will be decided in the next 5 hours. Utah and Houston as well. The only 3 series still going in this first round. The Wizards get the first possession, and Deshaun Stevenson, right in the center of the storm in this series, is guarded by LeBron early on. Up top, Antonio Daniels, watched by Delonte West. Jamison, Wallace has been a problem. Gets it right there.
Jamison, one of 5 guys to average 20 and 10, his best rebounding year in his career to this point, and that's the danger. He can shoot the 3, but also off the dribble.
Delonte West aggressive with the offense, and Brendan Haywood swats it away. Very involved crowd early. They've been on LeBron right since the warm-ups. Guys yelling, LeBron, where are your diapers? Drop for Haywood from Daniels. First 2 for the home team.
And Haywood, a career year. He just looks so much more confident and comfortable. You can trace that all the way back to just prior to the start of camp when Coach Eddie Jordan went to his house, visited with him, said, hey, let's get back on the same page and let's get started getting back to the playoffs.
Ilgauskas, Big C, he's always involved in their offense early on. Will they continue to have that as the night goes deeper?
Well, that was a great question because with Haywood fouling out late in Game 5, the expectation was you might try to take advantage of that. Instead, some tough shots late for the Cavs.
Szczerbiak suffocating defense on Butler. Jamison, toe on the tape. It was 2. And here comes LeBron. He's having an okay series so far. Only averaging 30 points, almost 9 boards, almost 7 assists. He'll get the constant treatment from this crowd with his feet set. Szczerbiak a 3.
Boy, that's a terrific sign. This is a guy who's pressed so hard. I think he's trying so hard to prove that he could shoot the basketball. It's a career 40% guy. He doesn't have to press. He can make shots.
He's only 4 of 16 from behind the long line until that basket. Still plenty of time on the clock. Antonio Daniels, Ohio-born, Bowling Green educated. Got West in the air. And got 2.
It's just a guy who's rock solid. 2 straight years where assist-to-turnover ratio in the league is top 5.
Butler let Szczerbiak shoot. Wally back-to-back. You called it. Getting hot early.
You know, it's funny. We watched him in warm-ups. He just looked relaxed and happy, and he's making shots. That is perfect because for the Cavs, they have talked about other guys getting production from the likes of Gibson or Szczerbiak.
That's what happened here in Game 4, a game the Wizards could have won. Butler rises up. Tough shot. You can see much more defensive attention on Karan after he torched this team in Game 5. Ilgauskas inside over Haywood. James the weak side rebound for 2.
I tell you what, this crowd should be careful because we have seen historically, and even over the course of the season, when the crowd gets after LeBron, he seems to play better. This whiteout might turn him into white hot.
Haywood, whose offensive confidence in game has expanded a lot this year. Jamison missed the putback, and we'll see if West will push. Yes, he will. Get up and go, Delonte. Put back by Ilgauskas. And the Cavaliers have muted the crowd a bit with their hot start from the field.
That is something the Cavs staff talked about. Let's trigger our transition with good defense and get some easy shots.
Cavs are 5 of 8 in the early going, including those Zerbiak threes. Without Arenas, the ball moves a lot better for the Wizards. Haywood sees 2 and throws it down.
Terrific recognition. There's a little exchange, so the mismatch on the post.
Good early shooting start, both teams. Wizards at 50%, Cavs 5 of 8 from the field. LeBron on the run, got to the rack. Jamison in the way. Daniels takes it away. It is 5 on 3 if they hurry. Open, Stevenson for 3. He can't feel the rim, forget his face. Jamison the rebound.
Terrific hustle, and to a man, I mean, obviously you see Gilbert Arenas sitting on the sideline. That is a gifted offensive player, but you're right, it seems like this team, without him for 66 games, Mike, they've gotten used to playing without him on the floor, and because they do not have him as an option offensively, more people have been involved.
West, nice cut inside, good feed from James. And it's 14-10. It's good to see that Gilbert, not many men can go to their closet and match the whiteout with their suit. But Gilbert showing up in the white suit here for Game 6.
Not many men can look good in a white suit, and he pulls it off.
And few try as well. Daniels just threw it up for Haywood. Tough catch. Oh, and put back in by Jamison. Jamison is going early, and that's going to be really big for them tonight.
Well, just like how assertive they have been on the offensive glass. This is a team that's been out-rebounded every game.
Delonte West for 2. Love the energy in the building tonight. Up top, Jamison for 3.
I think the Wizards love the energy.
Yeah, they do.
It does make you feel better. You start making shots.
Double it, get it out of LeBron's hands. Ben Wallace, they can leave free. Not when he does that. It's always been good if you've watched Wallace through his Detroit years. When he gets involved in the offense early, he's not afraid of the ball as the game goes on.
Yeah, it's interesting. He's a guy who's not obviously known historically as somebody who can make shots defensively, rebounding. That's what you expect from him.
Oh, Antoine Jamison, 5 of 8 from the field in the first half of the quarter. He's having an open like Butler had in Game 5, 11 points.
The consummate pro, the guy who is a little bit disturbed by his teammates' want to get involved in exchanging words. He just wants to let his play do his talking. He's speaking loudly.
Zerbiak took it off the dribble. Good box out by Haywood. Jamison has scored the last 9 for Washington. Butler lost it off his shoe, and we'll get a timeout. Terrific start. Both teams shooting 53% from the field. In a game Cleveland wants to close out to avoid a Game 7. The game the Wizards want to keep their season going. Wally Zerbiak, cold in this series, starts early. Antoine Jamison, cold in this series, gets going early. Good setup for a big night in D.C. Game 6 here in Washington, D.C. The Wizards leading Cleveland by 1. Washington trying to stave off elimination for the 3rd straight year by LeBron James, who has been the focal point of this series from a very physical standpoint. Right away, Eddie Jordan said, we're not going to give LeBron James layups in this series. Well, half one, game 1, the end of the half, Brendan Haywood and James get into it. Then he retaliates on Andre Black in that game. The hard fouling continued throughout that first game and on into the second game. And this is where it stepped to the dangerous spot. As LeBron went up, Brendan Haywood pushed him. The Cavaliers thought there would be a suspension. Other people technical did. There was not. There was an ejection. Then in game 3 here, the hard fouling continued as James hit the deck multiple times. And then when we got to game 4, that one by Deshaun Stevenson, a flagrant one that the Cavaliers thought should have been a suspension. It was not. And then in game 5, as arms get entangled with Darius Sungaila, the slap to the face ends up being incidental or not, a 1-game suspension. It's the sum total of 10 techs, 3 flagrants, the suspension, and the ejection. It has not been easy for the officials, the league office, or the teams to get through these first 5 games.
You know that expression, absence makes the heart grow fonder, and familiarity breeds contempt. You could tell these two teams have played 3 straight years in the playoffs. There's always something on the line. It breeds that kind of emotion.
Zerbiak missed the 3, hit his first 2, the rebound by Haywood. No changes out of the timeouts. Doris brings up a great point. This is the 16th playoff game these teams have played against each other in the last 3 years. I hear a lot of people say a rivalry doesn't begin until both teams win a series. Baloney.
Yes.
Just look at this. This is pure rivalry. Anybody who says that has no clue. Daniels is fouled by West. And a technical foul is called on Delonte West. It's zero tolerance night at the ballpark, especially knowing Steve Javy and Ken Maurer are here and Tom Washington. Any lip, any look, it's just going to short things and cut it right away.
Well, I think both coaches would probably approve because you do not want this thing to get out of control. You saw the one replay, Mike, where LeBron James' feet was taken out from underneath him, and Zydrunas Ilgauskas talked to us earlier today about that. He said the one thing, he said, I understand physical series, but you don't want to go after somebody's head because then you're messing with their career. You could hurt them.
That was a great point he made. So here's the hard foul by West. And then on that little push on the back end of it, you see Zydrunas Ilgauskas try to get in right away. That's where the technical was called. And that was the first personal foul of the game.
Now, I've got to admit, Mike, I was surprised by the suspension to Sungaila. And the reason I say that is just after the Spurs and Suns a year ago, it seemed like the league had taken a very conservative stance with suspensions. And with all of the contact that we just showed you on all of those replays, I guess the suspension was a little bit surprising from that perspective alone. But then listening to Rick's explanation from Stu Jackson, you get a better understanding.
You understand the by-the-book part of it. Honestly, I've had some folks on the other side say they thought the Deshaun Stevenson flagrant one in Game 4 was more worthy of a suspension. This isn't one where the Cavs sent in the tape. And it was a little bit surprising to the people around. Brendan Haywood fouls Ilgauskas inside. And I think, and Rick has more on this, and we can bring Rick in on this. The fact that the suspension came, as Rick mentioned, right before the end of the shoot-around today for Washington really troubled some. There you see, as their arms were entangled, in slow motion it certainly looks more blatant. Live, it's hard to tell. Somebody had to make a call, and it's not an easy office that Stu Jackson sits in. But I think a lot of people around here were unhappy that where were you yesterday on the suspension? And at least it would have given an opportunity for Washington to get ready to play without Sungaila. Rick?
Mike, I asked Stu about that, and he said, you know, there's a lot that goes in the investigation. It's not just a matter of looking at the tape, but we wanted to talk to the 2 players involved, and we talked to all of the referees and got their input. And he added, they agonized over this decision. It was not an easy one.
So there's the story. There's how it happened. The 2 missed free throws by Ilgauskas. It's still a 4-point lead for the Wizards. And Z comes away with the rebound. Nice drive by James to Ben Wallace for the dunk. The fans wanted to charge on James. Instead, it's another assist for LeBron.
Yeah, I think it's a terrific no call, and this is a guy who's willing to make plays for other people. He's got 3 assists already, LeBron. You get him down the heart of that zone and allow him to have multiple options open up.
Deshaun Stevenson, good hard hits by Ilgauskas, and too hard a pass forces the turnover. And we'll get our next first sub as Anderson Varejao set to come in for the Cavaliers. Usually he gets Ben Wallace, and that'll happen at the next dead ball. Cavaliers yet to turn it over. They look to get to the second round. Winner of this series plays the winner of the Boston-Atlanta series, Game 6, starting on ESPN at the top of the hour. Wallace crashing the glass. James fakes 3 to Zerbiak for 3. Third 3 of the quarter for Wally Zerbiak.
Well, what did that come off of, though? An offensive rebound. When West is able to get to the rim, cause rotation, that opens up your offensive rebounding abilities, and they get a second shot and pay that off. Good effort.
Stevenson tries to respond with a 3. Deshaun Stevenson gets the lead back for Washington.
So just as I said, you're thinking about putting somebody else in the pick and roll.
Foul on Butler, his first.
What do you notice a little bit different about LeBron's positioning on the floor through the first period? A lot in Game 5, especially late, they were putting him in high screen and rolls. That allows Washington to just converge on the paint, shorten the court. Remember what San Antonio did in the finals to LeBron a year ago. They shortened the floor, they loaded up in the paint, and they made him a mid-range jump shooter.
Definitely took him out of his comfort zone. So Varejao and Joe Smith check in, the first subs of the game for the Cavaliers. LeBron gets it, the double comes, and other guys have to do it. Zerbiak. Oh, wow. Wally Zerbiak hitting everything tonight.
The crowd reacted. They wanted to travel. It looked like he had happy feet before he made that move.
Zerbiak has 11 to match Jameson's 11, and Brendan Haywood goes with the baseline hook to knock that one down.
Well, back-to-back years where this guy sets career highs in points and rebounds. His free throw shooting so much better.
Wizards by 2. This is the best offensive quarter, perhaps in this entire series. Wally again. Rebound by Haywood. Zerbiak, who has hit 4 threes in the first 5 games, has 3 threes in the first 10 minutes here tonight. Butler coming baseline. Couldn't finish, but got his own rebound. Washington's been good on the offensive glass here tonight, Doris.
They're matching the Cavaliers. Remember, Cavaliers #1 in the league in offensive rebounding, but what is Washington doing? They're competing on the glass.
Delonte West was passing it to Zerbiak, and the timeout that the Cavaliers were going to call was taken over by the sideline, so no shot there. No shot, but this guy's shot is back. Wally Zerbiak, 4 of 16 behind the line, has made 3 threes, and when the tough stuff off the dribble is going for Zerbiak, might be a good night. Meantime, you saw the shot at Sungaila's uniform on the bench. Free Darius Sungaila. Hey, they'll protest anything. Okay, Matt Weiner, thank you. So a big night here after a great day in D.C. Nothing like a spring day in the nation's capital. Just spectacular.
You got your 4-mile run in.
Well, a little bit less than 4, but I got something running in, which is good. Not as much as the up and down we've seen in this first quarter. Great shooting start for both teams.
Yeah, somewhat unexpected, certainly, from teams who, especially without Gilbert Arenas, a little bit different pace for the Washington Wizards.
Washington shooting 43%, Cleveland 42% in this first round series, but both teams over 50% here in this first quarter. Daniel Gibson checks in for the Cavaliers to work with Zerbiak, Joe Smith, Varejao, and LeBron. And Gibson and Varejao miscommunicate. First turnover of the evening for the Cavaliers. Andre Blatch checks in, and as Doris pointed out earlier, he'll need to play more in the absence of the suspended Darius Sungaila. So big minutes for Blatch in his 3rd year straight out of high school. Daniels thought about Blatch. Varejao tipped it away. Wizards have it, and Varejao is going to be called for the foul as he hit Blatch trying to dig down and get it.
Blatch is a guy who has shown some signs over his first 3 years, so this is an awfully high level to ask a young fella to go ahead and contribute in.
It's going to be Zerbiak on the foul. They both went down to get it. I thought it was Varejao. In fact, it's Zerbiak. Very limited fouls here. That's only the 4th called in this first quarter. Blatch facing up on Varejao. Andre Blatch played a lot when Caron Butler was hurt with that hip injury, missed 17 games, and he gained some confidence through that stretch.
He absolutely did. A lot of guys saw more minutes, McGuire included, but that's Blatch. You think he's traditional low post back to the basket, but he prefers to step away and have a little bit of a face-up game.
Varejao, good feed to Joe Smith. Blatch went up and helped deny it. Butler on the push to Stevenson, out of control and bailed out by a Gibson foul. And second in the last 2 minutes will bring Deshaun to the line.
Terrific job by Blatch to be assertive coming into the game. You wonder how he's going to react, get the first substitution off the bench. And, you know, you can look at Sungaila and say, oh, he doesn't contribute a ton because he's only 5 points, about 3 rebounds per game. But it's a veteran presence from Sungaila. It's a very good low block defender. So what Blatch gives him will be important.
Deshaun Stevenson at the line. You'll get one more. Let me remind you here, the rest of the lineup, in addition to the doubleheader on ESPN tonight, TNT will start the second round with Magic Pistons, Spurs Hornets, note the times, 7:30 and 10 Eastern. On ABC on Sunday, there'll be a doubleheader. There are 7 scenarios. Check with your local travel agent on those. And here on ESPN, or over on ESPN, we'll have 2 games coming up tonight. The Celtics and Hawks Game 6 start in a half hour, and that will be followed by the Jazz Rockets Game 6 in Salt Lake City.
Well, how'd you like that matchup? Tony Parker versus Chris Paul. That'll be terrific.
The last 8 scored by the home team. That's their lead. 40 seconds left. First quarter of Game 6. Cavs trying to eliminate the Wizards. Daniel Gibson cross-court pass with ease. Joe Smith the rebound to Devin Brown. Nice feed to Varejao. Great ball movement inside by the Cavaliers.
Great job. You've got other guys from Cleveland wanting to make plays. You see LeBron off the basketball, not standing out there waiting for a high screen and having every Washington defender with their eyes on him.
About a second and a half the difference in the game shot clock. Caron Butler, who's seeing the defensive attention to allow Jamison to get going in the first. To Roger Mason Jr. Missed the 3. Gibson will have time. Looking for LeBron. You're denying LeBron. Gibson goes all the way and beats the clock at the end of the quarter. That will make it a 4-point game. So the Wizards up 8. Allow the Cavs to score the last 2 of the first.
A terrific job by Boobie Gibson to recognize he doesn't have a ton of time. You cannot find LeBron. Go ahead and make a play yourself. Take some contact. How about a little English? Yes, sir. A little bit of every bit of orange. Daniel
Gibson, the star of the second round of the playoffs last year and the Eastern Conference Finals for the Cavaliers, knocks down that hoop as we get to the end of the first quarter. Wizards 31, Cavs 27. Cleveland wins. They move on to the second round. Washington wins, and there'll be a 7th game Sunday afternoon in Ohio. Second quarter coming up after this.
Welcome back. I'm here with Coach Mike Brown. They've got 5 offensive rebounds. How is that happening?
Right now, they're just being aggressive going to the glass, and we got to make sure that if we go over to help on penetration, that we sink and fill the bodies and keep them off that weak side glass. We're not doing a good job of that.
All right, and the pace, how do you like the pace? It's an up-tempo one right now. Does that fit you, or would you like to slow it down?
We feel like we can play at any pace. Hopefully, we can get them on control on that weak side glass. If we can do that, we'll have a decent chance.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you, Rick Bucher, and thanks to Mike Brown, the 37-year-old head coach of the Cavaliers, who is a 3-year assistant with the Wizards. Doris, LeBron James starts this second quarter on the floor. Sometimes he starts on the bench. He had a very interesting stat line from the first quarter.
Unusual to see him with 4 assists and only 2 shot attempts, but he's a willing and exceptional passer. We just saw him in the first period make a cross-court chest pass. How strong is he?
Varejao rolls inside, couldn't get it. Ilgauskas couldn't get the rebound, and Andre Blatch with the rebound. Let's set the teams for you. It's Deshaun Stevenson, and with the ball, Roger Mason Jr., Antoine Jamison, Caron Butler, and Blatch up front for the Wizards, trying to keep their season alive at home here tonight. Good deflection by Ilgauskas. 7 to shoot for the Wizards, who have Devin Brown and Daniel Gibson in the backcourt. Varejao, Ilgauskas, and LeBron on the floor.
Caron Butler only 3 shot attempts. Remember I said he got 12 points in the first period of Game 5. They're being very assertive, coming with a double, mixing his looks.
You saw it right there. He had to give it up quick. Mason a fading fire.
He's a capable shooter. He has proven that over the course of this season.
4th year out of Virginia, 2nd round pick of the Bulls 4 seasons ago. Wizards have led by as many as 8, Cavs by 6. Stevenson left solo, but because of the attention, another pass, just like you were talking about, Doris. That's a 2 for Gibson.
How many guys have that kind of strength and vision to see over the top and have the strength to complete a chest pass? It's extraordinary.
And deliver it in the perfect spot to shoot. Butler given no airspace by Brown, so Blatch. And all wine and gold on the boards. That's a term Pat Riley has used so much airspace. That James pass knocked away. Mason takes it away for Washington. They're right up in Butler's jersey, not giving them any room. Jamison created room, blocked from behind, out of bounds off the Cavaliers. Varejao looking for the foul.
Antonio Daniels is back in along with Brenton Haywood for Butler and Stevenson.
Daniels and Haywood come in for Washington. Stevens and Butler sit.
Not only are they up in Karan Butler's jersey, but there's times where they're coming with doubles quickly. There are times where they're waiting for him to use the dribble, so they just want to keep him out of his rhythm. He is very much a rhythm guy.
Saw that with the early start that you mentioned in the 32 points in Game 5. 6 to shoot. Mason watched by Devin Brown. Got space, got 3. Well, Washington did a good job on the offensive boards in the first quarter. None here to start the second.
Well, what did Mike just tell Rick Bucher? Weak side checkout. Varejao did a terrific job.
LeBron overhandled, bailed out by Gibson. Ilgauskas traveled.
Wizards ball.
Just the second turnover on Cleveland. They got 3, 2 here in the quarter. Home game for Marty Aronoff, so I'm not getting by with anything tonight. The Hall of Fame stat man to our left.
A little bit slower pace scoring the basketball here in the quarter. We were a little bit surprised by the outburst.
Yes, Jamison tried to go baseline, didn't. Oh, good job by Blacks on the glass for 2.
Wow, could this be a little coming out party for the young man?
James in full flight, but good transition defense. There were 4 white shirts back for the Wizards. Mason draws the assignment. LeBron draws the booze. Ilgauskas. Fans thought Blatch took it away, but not a lot of complaining. The foul called on the Wizards. That's 1 on Andre.
Here's the foul, but again, you had 3 white jerseys. There it is, clearly, no question. On the catch for LeBron, that weak side defensively for Washington. 3 guys in the paint waiting to take that area of the floor away.
So charge it to Haywood, change that. That's Brendan's second. And Ilgauskas hits its first one. And that's important to watch as LeBron James sits here for the first time tonight because the Songaila suspension means Haywood has to stay out of foul trouble.
That's absolutely right. I asked Coach before the game, I said, will you ask him to play a little bit more conservatively? He said, no, this is not the time to be conservative. You have to be physical but use good technique to avoid foul trouble.
4-point Washington lead, 3 minutes gone by. Quarter 2, Game 6. One of 3 games on the family of networks tonight with 3 teams facing the end of their season. Mason, nice drop for Haywood.
Pretty pass. The best of reality television is on tonight.
That's right. You know, Game 7s are Game 7s. I love Game 6 because teams bring it with a different intensity. Because you've got that little safety of Game 7 if you're the team up 3-2, but the desperation of Washington. Hand check on Mason, and the foul call will take us to a timeout. Boston-Atlanta starts in 20 minutes on ESPN, followed by Utah-Houston. How about this pass?
Just a pretty play. You force the defense to step up. It makes an easy shot on the backside. Good stuff from Washington.
Wizards lead by 6.
Here on ESPN2 when the Cavaliers and Wizards finish their business from D.C.
Okay, Matt, thank you very much. Here, Washington leads by 6. Before Game 5 in Cleveland, before the Wizards left here, their owner, 84-year-old Abe Pollin, called the team up. It was very inspiring to the team, including Caron Butler.
It was big because it was one of those situations in which, Mr. Pollin, called us in the boardroom and just, asked us to win this game for him. Not the series or anything. He said just this one game. And we was like, that's definitely possible. And we went out there and we rallied up and, went out there and got that win for him.
Abe Pollin, 84 years old, 44th year of ownership. He's the longest tenured owner in the NBA. Abe and his wife Irene, so instrumental in building the Capitol Center out in Landover and this building with his own money here downtown in D.C. And Caron was telling us today, Dorisberg, just how nice the relationship has been with Abe. He calls him, checks on him during the season.
Yeah. I think Caron was absolutely moved by the fact that the owner, not a coach, not somebody who works him out with the team, but the owner, Abe Pollin, would take a personal interest in not only Caron, was he adjusting here? Was his family happy? I think you see NBA superstars, you have to remember their people as well.
Haywood couldn't make the catch. Blatch with 10 to shoot. Off the mark, rebound by Delonte West. No LeBron here on the floor right now, so it's always a question in these stretches, where does Cleveland go for offense?
Yeah, do you work it through Ilgauskas?
Gibson, who can take this team on for stretches like this, knocks down a nice 17-footer, and the Cavs are within 2.
Here's what I wonder about what Mike Brown's doing. Good activity, good exchanging of people and the basketball moving. Do you want to keep Gibson and West assertive? Is that why LeBron's out here for a couple minutes, in addition to giving him a little bit of time over there on the bench off his feet?
It's the 3 guards essentially with Ilgauskas and Varejao, and that allows Antoine Jamison some moments here because the guys who guard him well, Joe Smith and Ben Wallace, are on the bench.
We've got a very small lineup on the floor for Cleveland right now.
Ilgauskas working on Haywood. He went to the Jamison shovel shot, didn't connect, and off to the races goes Antonio Daniels. And he's fouled. And the Wizards and their fans want, anytime somebody gets hit and knocked down, they want something more than just a foul. Daniels a little shaken up, perhaps staying down for effect for a moment.
Gotta believe LeBron comes back in here shortly, because this is a very, very hard foul here. Not as hard as I thought. We're taking a different angle over here at midcourt.
Yep.
But this was a small lineup, so now you get Brown out and bring LeBron back.
Daniels is no stranger to hitting the deck hard. He does that on a very regular basis, and it's hurt his wrist. He's had a bad left wrist that he re-injured in Game 5 just a bit when he landed on it. One more free throw coming. Hey, you can visit NBA.com and get ready for the 2008 playoffs now at NBAstore.com. There you can find the best selection of team jerseys, hats, T-shirts, and more. NBAstore.com, every team, one store. So with the subs, let's check the Cavs. Gibson and West at the guards. Joe Smith, LeBron, and Ben Wallace up front. And 2 free throws knocked down by Daniels, who's saying, yeah, easy for you guys to say it wasn't a tough foul. He's clearing his eyes. He got knocked around as he was extended off the ground, and Ilgauskas hit his arm.
Let's see if LeBron becomes a little bit more assertive on the offensive end here in the last 7 minutes of the second period.
Butler back in defending. He's coming baseline. To the rack for 2. Good call.
Yeah, I mean, it was time. His team was down 6. You needed some offense. That is the guy. How many shot attempts is that for him?
I was just going to say, he'd only taken 2 shots in 17 minutes. Only 3 of those minutes was he on the bench. So a 4-point Washington lead. Joe Smith, who is giving Jamison problems with that length. Rebound by Delonte West, getting down in there with the big guys. James. Nothing open for Gibson, so he dribbles it back. Good, smart decision by Daniel, and LeBron a 3. Going. He's going. This is very similar to what happened in Game 4 here on Sunday when LeBron went out in that second quarter break. He came back more aggressive.
Well, he needed to, and I think his message early to his teammates was go ahead and make some plays. Get me in a position where I can make shots late.
Tough shot by Mason, well guarded by West, and it will be Cleveland ball.
So much was made in Game 5 about the fact that the Cavs offense stalled, and certainly it did. But remember, they put the ball in the hands of LeBron James. They got a layup to win it. Could have been a foul ball, nothing doing. You'll take those 90% of the time, I would think.
LeBron, a great catch by Gibson to West for 3. The DC native missed it. Joe Smith fouled his own teammate, but West came down with the rebound. Gibson in rhythm. Got it. So the Cavs, who hit a franchise record 15 3-pointers in the game here on Sunday, getting hot from distance now.
Yeah, that one, the better time to shoot it. Often offensive rebound, teams scrambling to go match shooters.
It's an 8-0 run for the road team to retake the lead, and a Wizards turnover will give it back to the Cavaliers after this timeout. So we will talk to Gilbert Arenas, get his read on what's been going on here through the first half momentarily. Good run by the Cavs. Thank you, Matt. The winner of the Boston-Atlanta series plays the winner of this series. One of the stars and the focal points the last 2 years when they've met. Gilbert Arenas done for the year, but standing by now with Rick Pieper. Rick?
I am indeed. Gilbert, first I have to ask, was this just hanging around in the closet, or is this a custom-made deal for the whiteout tonight?
I know it's cream, but it was the closest thing I had to white, so I had to put it on.
All right, fair enough. Give me an assessment of this game so far through your eyes.
You know, we're doing a great job. You know, we're containing them for the most part. We're hitting shots. You know, we're playing team basketball right now.
How hard was it for you to make the decision to shut it down completely, and what informed that decision?
You know, that was probably one of the hardest decisions I actually had to make, to sit myself down. You know, but, you know, talking with the docs, you know, we had to, or this thing could have got out of whack.
Now, are you telling me that if this team somehow survives this series, makes it to the conference finals, I dare say the NBA finals, that you're not going to be tempted to come back?
Doctor's already shut it down, so, you know, that's one conference finals I'm not going to be able to make it to.
All right, and is there something that you need to do when you get back? You see the success of this team. How are you going to have to adjust your game when you do play again?
Next season, we have all training camp to assess roles and, you know, get back in sync with each other.
All right, get well. We look forward to seeing you soon. Back to you, Mike.
Thank you, Rick. Gibson, left side of three, off of LeBron, feed once again. So a good run here for the Cavs as they have extended to a 5-point lead.
60% from three. They've made 6 of 10.
And they've scored the last 11 in this game. Mason tries to respond. It's been a tough shooting quarter for the Wizards. They are 4 of 12 from the field. Cleveland is 7 of 10 from the field. But what a difference since James has come back in. Butler defends, Mason for help. Again, Gibson. This one's 2. Look at LeBron go up and snatch the rebound.
Terrific job by Gibson to slide to that open spot. I'll tell you what, if you just watch LeBron, he's going to get you shots. Just keep moving.
Delonte West with a little hop to get set. Right back to James on the wing again. This time they double. Who's going to be free? Ben Wallace with a feed to Joe Smith. Great job by the Cavs. They've scored the last 13.
How unselfish is that basketball? Give up a good shot for a better shot.
And that 13-0 run that gives them the largest lead of the game has happened since LeBron James re-entered after his couple of minutes on the bench. Jamison tries 3. Washington's offense has gotten very stagnant.
The other thing they're not doing, stagnant, no question. The other thing, they're not hitting the offensive glass. Remember first period, they were getting multiple opportunities. They've stopped being assertive.
Just one offensive rebound, and so much of it has been engineered right here. Now Mason, the primary defense on James. Gibson free. Fake the 3. Took a tougher 2. Rebound Butler. Let's see if Washington swings the ball side to side. It's been getting to one side and going up, which has been the problem when Arenas was on the team. Look out. Delonte West came around to get it. Butler and James to the deck. Off Daniels. Butler dove to the ground to get it. He and James with a great hustle play right in front of him.
Yeah, Butler frustrated with that play right there, but I think he's also getting frustrated that things are not coming for him on the offensive end right now. He's only taken 3 shots. Cleveland has done a terrific job making him a passer instead of a scorer.
I think Cleveland's going to go the same thing here. The same thing they've run. Get LeBron the ball over here on the wing on the right. Maybe they'll exchange and go left. Stevenson now gets him defensively. Joe Smith with a little turn. 15-0 run for the Cavaliers.
Wow. And it's coming from a lot of different areas. Obviously all triggered off LeBron. How easy does he make some of the passing that he does? Look.
He's got a smooth 7 assists already. LeBron calls for the foul, and he goes to pick up Caron Butler off the deck. And it's just the first team foul on the Cavaliers here in this second quarter. Where's all that noise? He's making as much noise as the crowd is right now. Timeout. Tonight's game on ESPN2 is available on ESPN2 HD. We look across the reflecting pool at the Washington Monument on back to the Capitol Dome. Darth, about 5 minutes ago on the clock, it was 41-35 Washington. 15-0 run engineered by James.
Yeah, and early on he was doing a lot of this. He's got 7 assists. He had only taken 2 shots in the first period. He's a willing, a capable passer. I think makes things look a lot easier than they are. And his ability to get off the bounce, score it around the rim, 6'8", 250 pounds. Good luck taking a charge on that guy. Off his feet with great authority. You know, they tell you make chest passes and don't make them to the next closest player. He makes them across the floor and makes it look easy. Look at the stat stuffer already.
And that is part of what LeBron always does. As you said, very willing to be whatever the role the defense dictates. There's so many big guys, especially in a game like this, the crowd's on them. A lot of talk to the player you were involved with gets suspended, so the crowd's even on you more. They force the action. He does not force the action. Lets the game come to him.
It's extraordinary. At 23 years old, he can show the equanimity he does. It's really unbelievable.
Big shot there for the Wizards and Butler. They were 4 of 13 in the quarter before Karan's hoop, his second of the game. It's 50-43 as we head to 2 minutes. Game 6. Cavaliers trying to advance through the Wizards for the 3rd straight year. 2 defenders come. Joe Smith cuts to the ball. Twice off the tin, but out to Gibson for 3. Dagger! Another big 3 for Gibson.
Now, this is the #1 team in the NBA at offensive rebounding. Eddie Jordan's team knows that. They've been out-rebounded every single game, but they're not getting multiple shot opportunities, Washington, on this end of the floor.
Gibson has hit all 3 of his threes here in the quarter. A James-like pass to Daniels. Antonio, good job by Gibson not to get off his feet. Butler's going to have to bail him out with a shot over LeBron for 3. Jamison gets the second offensive rebound of the quarter for the Wizards. Butler bangs with Smith. Fans want a foul. Get nothing. Kept alive. Stevenson 3. Rebound James. 70 seconds in the half.
It's dangerous right here for Washington.
Oh, got it, and a foul. Jamison bangs him, and LeBron a chance for the 3-point play.
Things getting away from Washington.
His 5th shot of the game.
Simply no defense for this guy when he takes contact and is able to absorb that and still make a shot.
He's going up. Jameson takes the worst of it there, but LeBron's going up for the shot. Quite a half.
This guy was an all-state wide receiver in high school before he gave it up. How'd you like to be lined up opposite him with that physique?
21-2 run for the Cavaliers here from the 7:23 mark of the first half. And the Wizards have lost it on offense. Stevenson is blocked by Ben Wallace, who's got an imprint on this game. Haywood inside. Got it.
Good job on that possession. But the last couple of possessions, it felt like Washington was trying to get that deficit back too quickly. You're not going to get it all back in one shot.
They've only scored 14 points in the quarter. James. That was a commercial waiting to happen. Jamison fouled by Delonte West. It's going to be first in the last 2 minutes. And it will be Washington ball side out. Let me remind you that the Toyota halftime show is coming up. Stuart Scott, John Barry, Stephen A. Smith. The most impressive player in the first round. 5 of the 8 series done. Game 6 in Atlanta underway, and the latest on Mike D'Antoni in San Antonio, and in Phoenix, I should say.
Well, I reacted when you say who was the most impressive player in the first round. My first thought went obviously to Chris Paul, but how about Tony Parker? Tony Parker may be changing the way people defend him. You want to go under screens most times. He's making too many shots at this point.
The development of the jumper that the Cavs saw all too well in the NBA Finals last year. We have a 2-second difference. Game and shot clock. Here at the end of the half, the Wizards try to get it to single digits. Antonio Daniels to Antoine Jamison for 3. That was huge. Shows their defense here with 4.2 to go. It'll be in James' hands. Will they double him and get it out? Yes. Gibson beats the clock. Is he fouled? No foul. No basket. Halftime. And a technical foul on LeBron James. as he barked at Steve Javy for the lack of a call at the end of the half there, and that'll give Washington a chance to get within 7 when we start the third quarter. And Javy telling James here to get back. Look at Steve. He is telling these guys, get out of Dodge. I told you early on there would be zero tolerance here tonight, given what has happened already in the series. All right, Rick Bucher. Go ahead, Rick.
All right, I'm here with LeBron James. Why do you think you just got that technical foul?
I stated what I had to say. I didn't say nothing disrespectful to him. I just told him I thought it was a foul, so he gave me a technical.
All right, you guys, great second quarter run. What do you think fueled that?
Defensively, we got stops. We got to continue to help each other on the defensive end and see what happens.
All right, you seem to have been sitting back a little bit, sort of trying to feel out this game. What caused you to take that approach, and what have you learned?
I just get what the defense give me. They've been loading up on me, the whole series. They're doing a little bit more loading up on me tonight, and, my guys are knocking down shots.
All right. Good luck in the second half.
Thanks, Rick.
Thanks.
Thank you, Rick. Washington was 7 of 20 in that second quarter. You see the Toyota halftime show stories that the guys will have for you momentarily. That technical free throw will start the third quarter, and the Wizards will have a chance to get it to 49-56. Great quarter by the Cavs. They scored 29 points, trying to eliminate the Wizards in this building for the third straight year. Lead by 8. Toyota halftime show coming up. Atlanta, Boston, starting on ESPN. Well, it could be the last half of basketball played about a mile and a half, I think it is, from the White House here in the nation's capital. It is a 56-48 Cleveland lead. LeBron James really took over that second quarter when he came off the bench in a very unique way. Really a lot of distributing. Caron Butler unable to get it going. Only 2 of 6 from the field. 5 points in the first half. Mike Tirico, Doris Burke, Rick Bucher's along with us. We'll hear from him momentarily. Let's go back to the beginning, Doris. A great first quarter for both teams. And Antoine Jameson set a tone for this Washington team that they needed to get out of the gate in Game 6.
Well, with Cleveland taking away Caron Butler, Jameson had to get started early, and I thought he was assertive, most particularly on the backboards. This is a guy who rebounds it at 10 per game, and he was just aggressive. He was assertive. He was using his size and his length. He gives you a great perimeter shooter. This is a guy who you would prefer to have him take it off the bounce, because when you allow him to get his feet set, he can knock down shots with great efficiency. And I'd say this is the one he hit late, and I thought it was an important one to get them back within striking distance of Cleveland.
Yeah, so then we were 41-35, 7:23 left in the second quarter. Cleveland scored 21 of the next 23, and it coincided exactly when LeBron came off the bench.
I am thrilled to be a witness to LeBron James. He can impact a game without shooting the basketball, and he did so in the first period. He only took 2 shots, but what a half. And when he decided that it was time to be assertive, guess what? He's got the package. Initially, he was the setup guy. 7 assists. He makes those cross-court passes with ease. It's extraordinary. At 6'8", 250 pounds, he's a willing, he's a capable, and he's a talented passer. But guess what? This is the thing you fear most. This guy off the dribble making plays either for himself or for others. He's able to take hits because of that strong upper body.
Much like we saw with Chris Paul, really waiting and anticipating the double team at the right moment. He has 7 assists, a big number as you look at Jameson's first half stats. Cleveland has 17 assists on their 23 field goals. Great sharing of the ball tonight. The third quarter is going to start with a technical free throw, but first, it'll start with Rick Bucher. Rick.
Thanks, Mike. You guys have been talking about it. LeBron James' skip passes and his ability to find other guys on his post-ups. Those were the 2 major factors that Eddie Jordan says they have to have an answer for in this second half. It also feels like offensively they were living off their transition and their offensive rebounds, lost a little bit of their ball movement discipline. Feels that they need to get that back as well.
Okay, Rick, thank you. For those just joining us, remember, Darius Songaila is suspended for tonight's game for that hit on James in the first quarter of Game 5. So the Wizards are shorthanded. Caron Butler misses the technical that was called on James at the end of the first half. So Cleveland ball leading by 8.
It's a terrific point, the last one. But this is a Washington team under Eddie Jordan that has numerous offensive sets. They can run pretty basketball with those Princeton cuts. Let's see, do they go back and run some good offense here in the second half?
Not a fortuitous start. A 90% free throw shooter in Butler, missing that tee, coming right out of the locker room. Zerbiak, who was hot in the first quarter, steps back, contested to Ben Wallace, tipped it. Ilgauskas gets the rebound. That is what Ben does so well. He only took 3 shots in that quarter, but that was his 6th in that half. But that was his 6th rebound of the game. 4 of them on the offensive side, and James, it's his 5th field goal. LeBron now the 2nd leading scorer for Cleveland with 12, as Daniel Gibson had 15 in the first half.
He worked all off season on that mid-range game. He comes back, lights out. Remember what he does in the World Championships? He shot 70%, having been committed to being a better shooter.
Daniels moves the ball well, gets it back, reluctant to take the 3, comes on in, missed the 2, and Cleveland has really tightened up the offensive rebounding that Washington did so well in the first quarter. Same 10 that started the game start this second half. It's Delonte West, watched by Daniels. Zydrunas Ilgauskas on Brendan Haywood. Good job by Haywood defensively again.
His length, and Z talked about that this morning. It's bothered him a bit.
Butler watched by Zerbiak and getting a lot of defensive attention. Stevenson for 3. Jamison over the back, first foul of the half, and on Antoine, his 2nd. He's only the 2nd player with 2 fouls in this game. Delonte West has 2, and now Jamison has 2. Anybody else has a foul has 1.
Well, first half was extraordinary. It was 7 combined turnovers, 11 combined fouls, I believe it was, in that first half. We don't have a game behind us that we're racing to.
That's right. And it's very different from the way the series was. Feeder set, Wally 3, rims out, rebound by Haywood. So where will Washington get its offense? 31 points, over 50%, and very efficient in the first quarter. Jamison. Rebound by Delonte West. Nobody's stopping the ball. The West will circle back. Zerbiak fires for 3 more, and Eddie Jordan takes a timeout. The lead is 13, the largest of the night for the Cavaliers.
Wally Zerbiak so assertive, giving them a big cushion. They'd love to see this continue as the playoffs continue.
First 5 of the third quarter scored by Cleveland, going against the message Eddie Jordan sent his team at halftime.
I thought before the last 2 minutes, they played a lot more intensity than we did. But I thought the last 2 minutes or so, we came back. Come on, let's go. Come on, guys. Listen, they made shots. We make the adjustment, get some shots. But you got to bring that same intensity you had the last 2 minutes. First 5 minutes. 1, 2, 3.
Well, Doris, they still allowed shots there early on. A couple of open 3s for Zerbiak. He knocked down 1. And now Butler and Jamison and the rest of the Wizards know this is the time. They cannot fall much farther behind, down 13, 2 minutes into the third.
So you pay attention. How are their faces looking? Are they still wanting to compete here? But think about this. Cleveland, in 2 of their 3 wins in this series, have hit double-digit 3s. They've already got 8 made 3s. And obviously, Wallace shouldn't be that wide open. With the first half he had, he proved he's back as a shooter. So go ahead, you got to contest him now.
Butler driving inside. Tough shot by Karan. And on the rebounding action, we're going to get a loose ball foul. And I believe it's going to be on, I thought it was Washington. Let's see what Steve Gabby has here. No, it's going to be on Ilgauskas. So 2 on Z.
Looked like he was pleading his case, maybe pointing to his arm, scratch. So, oh, yeah, you see the left arm looks like this little something on it. But you can't, they're like running backs, those forwards. They got bruises up and down their arms, yes. Probably on their chest.
Certainly from this series, this has been old-fashioned physical basketball. Jamison stumbling in and 1. Ben Wallace with the foul.
Well, tough shot. And the 2 guys, your 2 co-captains, your 2 veterans, your 2 consummate professionals, Antoine Jamison and Karan Butler, those are the guys you've got to ride back into this game. Karan took a tough contested shot. Antoine makes a terrific play, taking some contact and finishing.
Interesting sub here, a couple of minutes into this third quarter. Antonio Daniels to the bench, and Roger Mason comes in. So it'll be Mason and Stevenson in the backcourt in this key stretch. Free throw makes it a 10-point game. There's still a ton of time, and the Wizards can score it in bunches, and we have seen Cleveland go through dry patches, just like the end of Game 5. Delonte West, D.C.-born, Maryland for high school. Missed the runner, Haywood the rebound.
Yeah, how about that for Delonte West? Grew up in the area, played a high school game here, but dreamed of this level. Now you're here.
Jamison. Haywood knocks Zerbiak down. The foul had to be called. That's a good call by Kenny Maurer on the center for the Wizards, his second tonight.
Fouls on the Wizards, number 33, Brendan Haywood, second personal.
Be interesting to see how LeBron approaches this period. We saw him in the first half. He wanted to be a distributor in the first period. Got aggressive late in the second when they made their run and stretched this game out a bit. What does he do here?
That run was 21-2 for about a 7-minute stretch toward the end of that second quarter. Zerbiak, Ilgauskas, 5 to shoot for West. Good defense by the Wizards here, but Wally got it free. Didn't get the three. Let's see if Washington can push a little bit. Good job by Ben Wallace coming back. It's 3-on-2. Zerbiak underneath. It was almost as if they were not going to let LeBron get a thunder dunk that only counts for 2 but feels like about 5.
That's exactly right. That's like a 3 from him or a thunderous dunk where their guys get juiced up from him.
Good deflection by James and 13 to shoot for Washington. Cleveland doing a good job on the defensive end. Only 20 points scored by the Wizards in the last 16 minutes. They had 31 in the first quarter, and they put a blanket on Butler, coming off his playoff career high in Game 5.
Now they're doing the same thing they did last game, which is starting with Wally Zerbiak on him in both early parts of both halves, and then coming with assistance. If he's not able to contain Karan, somebody comes over and helps.
Short shot clock, Stevenson launches.
That's the guy. We said it at the break, Mike. He's got to start making shots for them.
The lead is 9. Stevenson knocked down. Butler bumps into Zerbiak and called for the foul by Tom Washington. 2 on Karan. Team fouls here in the quarter. 3 on Washington, 2 on Cleveland. If there's a Game 7, it will be at the Quicken Loans Arena in Cleveland on Sunday.
If Washington can stay attached, will they go to the hack of Ben?
Yep, that's right. Ben Wallace did that for 1 possession. Big block by Jamison, leading Stevenson the other way. Foul by West.
So we get the benefit of the second look. I think if we were in Cleveland, the crowd would have been screaming for a goaltend. But look at Antoine Jamison. Very good block. It triggers their offense. Good job by Stevenson to push the pace after that terrific block.
89% free throw shooter. Drafted by Utah at the end of the first round of 2000. 3+ years there. Didn't mesh with Jerry Sloan after a while. Was traded for Gordon Garicek, who went to Phoenix. Couple of seasons in Orlando, then came here for under $1 million signed as a free agent, and he's been very dependable, second only to Tayshaun Prince in consecutive starts. Started every game this year. The whole Soulja Boy thing, the whole off-the-court stuff, the mohawk, the calling LeBron overrated has gained the most attention this series, but he has developed into a very solid NBA player.
Came in with no jump shot and made a career high this year.
Speaking of jump shots, Wally's got one. That was an Ilgauskas push in the back, not called. Keeping this trip alive for the Cavaliers as we get to the 7-minute mark. Haywood fronted. Now doubling James. And Z free.
That is exactly the play late in the ball game in Game 5 people were looking to make. Put him in a pick and roll, because if you do low to LeBron, Z has a terrific jump shot.
A good, unique big man to set those pick and rolls and set those high screens because of his ability to hit that shot. Jamison feeling it now. Let's see, out of bounds off Cleveland, and we'll stay down here with 7 to shoot. A reminder, coming up next on ESPN, it will be Tracy McGrady trying to force a Game 7 in Houston. Carlos Boozer, can he get going in this series for the Jazz? And remember, the playoffs continue on ABC. We'll have a doubleheader on Sunday. Check your local listings. As they said, we could have a couple of Game 7s, could have a couple of Game 1s, or some combination thereof. We'll see you Sunday on ABC. Pre-game 12:30 Eastern.
We're going to keep you up late so you know where you're going tonight.
That's right. That's right. Butler, 3. Good rebound by James as Ilgauskas and Haywood were battling. LeBron has 12, 9 assists, and 7 rebounds here tonight. Daniel Gibson's back in, had a 13-point second quarter. Ben Wallace caught it, missed it. Jamison the rebound. It was a great pass.
How about the pass? That was beautiful.
The Wizards sometimes take bad shots in these situations. They need good ones. James trips Jamison, goes to get him. It'll be side out for Washington.
You know what? LeBron James, he's 23 years old. You feel like he's 35. How he conducts himself, the professionalism, doesn't allow all the fouling, the hard hits he's taken to knock him off his game, doesn't get overly emotional.
Well, 1 out of every 4 of his games is on national TV.
Yes,
so you feel like you've seen him for years because you've seen years worth of his games. And that's even more when you factor in playoff games. Opened his playoff career in this building with a triple-double a couple of years ago. Haywood. James stays for the double. Good defense. And LeBron took it away. Taking off on Jamison. James with a finish and a foul. There's the difference right there. He was able to stay there defensively, get in the way, and take it all the way.
They're just so aggressive, so assertive, so strong, physically just rips the basketball. How about that? Gave himself an opportunity taking that kind of contact.
Doris, you talked earlier, as LeBron will hear it from the crowd at the line, about being a first-team All-State wide receiver in high school at St. Vincent St. Mary's in Ohio. That was like a wide receiver with position, inside position on a DB. He was not going to let him get in the way all the way through. James leads these playoffs in free throw attempts per game with 13 per. That was just attempt 2 and 3. We're back to an 11-point lead.
He's giving up some points by only shooting about 70%. I mean, he's averaged about 13 free throw trips in the playoffs.
Who was the one who was asking for more fouls to be called?
Yeah, that's right.
You got him. Second on Zerbiak. Cavs now over the limit with 5:24 to go.
Well, given the circumstances of this playoff series, I think the crew has done a terrific job because the emotions have stayed in check. They've quickly responded when hard fouls have happened.
Butler knocks down the first one. Remind you, TNT will start the second round of the playoffs. Game 1, Orlando-Detroit. Game 1, San Antonio-New Orleans, starting 7:30 Eastern. And our ABC doubleheader, pregame 12:30 Eastern. The games at 1 and 3:30 with matchups to be determined by about 1 a.m. tonight. Detroit closing out Philadelphia last night. Impressive start right out of the gate for Flip Saunders' team. The switch flipped on.
Yeah, you wonder if they're locked and loaded to start. I don't think Dwight Howard's looks will be as easy in round 2 as they were in round 1.
That'll be a good series. Ilgauskas with 3 to shoot over Butler. Got it. Nice move by Ilgauskas. Really underappreciated, I think, for all the things he can bring now in his 12th year in the league.
See, I think that guys like him give testament to the idea that the Europeans teach the game better than we do. That is a fundamentally sound 7-foot guy. Can make jump shots, good passer.
The lead is 11. The double comes, the rotation to Stevenson. Bad decision. James the block. LeBron on the run. Gibson. Take the 3 and got a 2. Oh, talk about a good touch. Daniel Gibson, second year out of Texas, equals the largest lead of the night with 4:25 in the third.
Boy, tonight he's looking like the breakout series against Detroit a year ago. He's just aggressive. He's making shots.
Butler double. Nice find. Haywood the finish at the rim.
He was looking for the N1. That's a guy who couldn't make a free throw. Now he's wanting to get there. Ben Wallace. Stevenson sending LeBron left, but just made an easy feed to Ilgauskas. Haywood staying right with him. Slapped it away. Taken away by Stevenson. And Ilgauskas and Haywood with arms flailing on the way up. Mason at the line. Stevenson. Butler. Mason 3. Good rebound, Ilgauskas. Terrific offensive set, though. The ball moved. There was good activity. Uncontested shot. Cleveland takes a timeout with 3:27 to go here in the third. Maybe 15 and a half left in the season for the Wizards. As whether it's been LeBron or Wally or Big Z, most complete offensive performance by the Cavs in the last couple of games. And they lead by 11.
For both Celtics trying to win that series tonight in Georgia.
And, Matt, if both teams win, they will start their series Sunday in Boston. Great offense from Cleveland, as you see here, with their incredibly efficient offensive numbers.
I think these two are extraordinary. 21 assists, 4 turnovers.
And the message from Mike Brown, a little bit of this and a little bit of something else.
Defensively, we're doing a nice job contesting shots. We got to keep contesting shots without letting them get in the teeth of our defense, okay? And then we got to box out and limit them to 1 shot. We can't afford to let them have 2-3 shots at it down here.
And that was their problem in the first quarter, Doris, when they had 5 offensive rebounds. They've only had 5 since then, and actually, Washington's only made 10 of 32 shots in the second quarter and this part of the third.
Wow. And the key is, if you're not shooting a high percentage, then you got to go get second shots as they were in the first period.
Joe Smith knocks down the jumper, and the Washington bench is being outscored 25-6 in this game. 17 of them for Daniel Gibson, but they're getting a lot from their non-starters.
No, it's such a short rotation for Eddie Jordan.
Mason, who stays in for Daniels, missed it. Look at James go up. Varejao and James keep it alive, and the Cavs have numbers. Zerbiak got the line. It's the 3, Butler the rebound. 13-point lead, equaling the largest of this 6th game, potential elimination game for Washington. If they can rally, Game 7 is Sunday in Cleveland. Haywood working on Varejao with Ilgauskas out. Stevenson, quick 3. It was late in the clock, but had another pass or two. Really took a tough shot.
You know, I'm not sure they knew what Cleveland was doing defensively. You had Varejao out on Caron Butler, and then he sprinted back. They might have been in a little bit of a zone.
3-point shooting, the difference tonight. Gibson 2. Got another one.
Now, look at all the bodies.
Yep.
Antoine James put his head down. Right after the made shot, Stevenson put his head down. Don't quit here if you're Washington.
Look at Gibson's field goals. Latch and Daniels going to come back in as Eddie Jordan looks for something. Butler has given them nothing tonight. A lot of good defense on him. Jamison has kept Washington in it with 21 points and 10 rebounds, and he limps back up the court. Two straight years in this building, very close to this very day, Cleveland has eliminated Washington. They double James, who's free. Wally's free. Zerbiak missed the 3.
He's getting cold. He's made 1 shot here in the second half.
Jamison waiting at the line. Butler gave it to him. Air ball. Partially deflected. Haywood fouls LeBron. Haywood heading for the bench.
A terrific contest. You know, you wonder about Wally Zerbiak. It had been a struggle for him to sort of incorporate himself into the offense after the trade. He starts to press because he doesn't make shots. You know, clearly, when you think back to 2004 with he and Sam and KG in Minnesota, he averaged 20 points. He's a career 40% three-point shooter. How much easier, as they advance, would it be for LeBron if he could make shots?
Zerbiak out, Delonte West in 2008 playoffs. Get you set, NBAStore.com. You get the best selection of jerseys, hats, T-shirts, and more. Your team's all there, NBAStore.com. Every team, one store. Largest lead of the night for the Cavs with 13 minutes left for the Wizards to save their season. It's Game 6 of the opening round. The winner gets the Boston-Atlanta winner. They gave Daniels space because he's not shooting. Mason a 3. Nothing from behind the line tonight for the Wizards, who are 4 of 18.
How many times have they settled for jump shots?
And that rebound for James gives him a triple-double. 16 points, 10 rebounds, and 10 assists. Another playoff triple-double for LeBron, who's fouled by Caron Butler.
Yeah, he's highly frustrated because on the last possession he was upset that there was no foul call on LeBron James. LeBron took a pop to the mouth on the defensive end.
And Butler picks up the technical, and here it is.
This is the contact I was talking about where Caron wanted a foul. He actually popped James in the mouth. Nothing doing there. And then this is where the technical foul occurs.
And Daniel Gibson, a good shooter, missed it. No, it's the same question. Were you tied up? Are your arms coming free? And where do you get somebody in the mouth? The fans hold that crybaby shirt that some were giving out to get on LeBron. It was Brendan Haywood who said Michael Jordan didn't whine like this when he was fouled. A lot harder. The rules were a little bit different then. You could be more physical with players. I don't know if egging LeBron on was even worth it, to be honest.
No, don't egg on LeBron or Kobe or guys who are so extraordinarily gifted, one, and two, want to compete at the highest level, compete every single practice, every single play.
James, we talked in this series about working on his free throw shooting in the offseason. He struggled a bit. He has made all of his free throws tonight. All 7. Daniels around Varejao. 7.1 to go. Will he get it out of James' hands? Deep, deep 3. End of the quarter. If that would have gone in, you could have just skipped the fourth quarter. And LeBron just telling his teammates to help him out. 3rd career playoff triple-double. He had one in his very first game in this building. And the Cleveland Cavaliers up 15, 12 minutes away from the winner of the Boston-Atlanta series in the second round. Do the Wizards have anything left, or will they be eliminated on their home floor by the Cavaliers for the 3rd straight year? Off we'll go to the fourth quarter after this.
Welcome back. I'm here with Coach Jordan. You told your team they needed to improve their energy in the 3rd quarter. How do you think they responded?
Well, I've always said, improve your energy. I thought our energy was good, but channel all the energy and the emotions into staying organized. And in our flow offense, in the early offense, we weren't getting our spacing, or we didn't have any good intent except for trying to go too hard by ourselves. So we got to get back to being organized.
What do you need to see in this 4th quarter to keep this series alive?
Well, we got to work extra hard. We got to keep the intensity up. We got to get good shots. Their defense picked up. We can't get distracted because of good defense or because they make shots.
Good luck. Thanks, Coach.
Rick, thank you. Thanks, Eddie Jordan. Doris, right before the end of the 3rd quarter, LeBron James is very animated talking to his team.
This is a 15-point lead that he's got, and he's telling his guys, let's get stops, let's start thinking. Let's send our colleague Bill Walton some greetings and give him a little props. He played for John Wooden, who talked about competitive greatness, right? So in addition to unbelievable skills, that is the drive that guys like LeBron and Kobe have, and that's what separates them. You have a lot of talented guys in this league. It's heart and toughness and leadership and all the things that LeBron shows.
Stop talking, get these stops. He takes the first shot of the quarter. It's off the mark, rebounded by Jamison, who works with Butler, Daniels, Roger Mason Jr., and Andre Blatch, as Washington tries to come back from down 15 at the start of the quarter to force a Game 7 in Cleveland. Jamison bumped by Joe Smith, and always in a game, especially in the playoffs, especially when you're a good free throw shooting team like Washington is, you want to try to get the other team into the penalty early in the 4th quarter, and that means go to the basket.
And that means get to the free throw line, because you scored 31 points, Washington did in the first period. The last couple, you've scored 33. Your jump shot's not going. Get yourself to the free throw line.
Daniels over Gibson. Ilgauskas the rebound. Everybody's trying to look for that extra little emphasis on every bump and bang. And on the other side, we've got a foul called on Andre Blatch. Here's Eddie Jordan in the between the periods timeout.
All right, let's go. We got plenty of time. Plenty of time. Let's get a nice little run and then ride the wave to the finish line.
They have to start with some stops. Daniels drawing the assignment on James here. 3 to shoot. LeBron's looking at the clock at the other end. Turns, misses. Joe Smith, long arm, gets the rebound.
Terrific hustle. Former #1 draft pick out of Maryland, Joe Smith.
No #1 overall pick has played for more teams, but he's been good since the trade at the deadline coming from Chicago. Wally Zerbiak also in that trade, knocks down a three. It is an 18-point Cavalier lead. Zerbiak 5 of 12 shooting threes tonight. 12 three-point attempts. He had 16 attempts in the first 5 games. Butler bounce to Black. Ilgauskas recovers, and a foul is called. Butler got hit in the head. Joe Smith was twirling around.
Well, Mike Brown was complaining early in the series about how physical they were, how hard they were hitting his superstar LeBron James. They are giving as good as they get tonight.
Well, credit Cleveland for the adjustment. The beauty of the playoffs is the adjustment night in, night out. And here's Caron Butler coming off just a stud game in Game 5 where he, as he knocks down the first one, scored 32 points on 11 of 22 from the field. There is series averages, and tonight just 2 of 9.
Well, clearly for Cleveland, their focal point tonight defensively was Caron Butler. They did a sensational job early of making him a passer. He got no rhythm offensively. So even when he started to get shots, he wasn't in rhythm. So he was missing the ones he did get.
And got no assists, as you see there. So when that double came, he couldn't find the open guy. Daniels a hand check outside. Each team with 2 team fouls here in the first 2:16 of the fourth quarter. And if you are a fan of the Wizards or Cavs, you're getting frustrated with every whistle, every elbow, every bit of whining on either side. I think Tom Washington, Ken Maurer, and Steve Jaffe have done a great job calling this game tonight.
Yeah, terrific job. The emotion's so high. The familiarity of these 2 teams breeding the contempt we have seen through the first 5 games.
Ilgauskas held by Blatch, 3rd team foul. Haywood's going to come back in. Andre Blatch cannot handle Ilgauskas inside.
Now, everybody wants to question whether this team is better without Gilbert Arenas, but you put 66 points on the board, and he is a gifted offensive talent. I understand the ball sometimes stops because he needs the ball to be as effective as he is.
The lob for James from Ilgauskas. Rarely do you get your center with those assists from up top, but Ilgauskas having a complete game as well, and it's back to 18. Look at how hard Cleveland is defending up 18 here.
Now, what did Coach Jordan tell Rick Bucher? He said, we can't let good defense disrupt us, take us out of our spacing, our flow. That's exactly what's happening.
Jamison split the double, missed the floater. Haywood kept it alive, but Smith came away with it. We showed you that LeBron at the end of the 3rd quarter talking about stop yapping, get stops on this end. Boy, his guys have come with that. Deep catch, Ilgauskas. 20-point Cavalier lead. 3 minutes into the 4th, and Cleveland looking like they're going to go to round 2. Foul on Zerbiak. 3rd team foul on the Cavs, and we have a timeout. A 21-2 run in the 2nd quarter. Flip this game around. LeBron a triple-double. 20 points, 10 boards, 10 assists, and another elimination of Washington.
Point lead.
Wow, just 3. Remember, Boston led by 10 in that 3rd quarter the other night, and Atlanta had the furious comeback to get the win there. Doris Burke, as we look at these numbers, you pointed it out at the start of the quarter. Washington was up 4 after 1. Since then, it is 59-35 Cleveland. The Wizards, who need to score to do it, obviously, 35 points in 27-plus minutes.
Cleveland last year rode 2 things to the NBA Finals. They rode LeBron. Obviously, he was sublime. But the second thing they did was they defended. They were one of the better defensive teams. Well, in the last couple of periods, 2.5 periods, they've been terrific on that side of the floor.
25 assists on 34 field goals and only 4 turnovers. So Cleveland has come on the road and played a very good game. Look at that.
How about Boston struggling on the road, yet to take a road win? 66 regular season wins for Doc Rivers.
More suffocating defense here from Cleveland inside Haywood at the back end of the shot clock. Finally able to draw the foul. 3 on Joe Smith, 4 on the team here in the quarter. So in the East, we'll get that Orlando-Detroit series starting tomorrow night on TNT, the 2-3 series. Cleveland, the 4 here, trying to get through. And that Celtics-Hawks game in progress, as Matt showed you. And as you see on the bottom there, the update on the NASCAR nationwide race, 100 miles from here in Richmond, and that you can see in its entirety coming up after we're done. It's live over on ESPN Classic.
Well, Rasheed Wallace, Dwight Howard, that is a matchup that should be an awful lot of fun.
Haywood split the pair, Butler the rebound. He's really trying to find a way to get going. He does there. For Karan, his third field goal. It is a 17-point game. In desperate need of multiple stops. A team not known for its ability to put up the stop sign. That's a guy who goes through stop signs. 22, 10, and 10.
It just makes it look so easy.
Really good. And one, continuation for Butler. That's back-to-back field goals for Karan. 17-point game.
You have to be as efficient as possible, and that means going to the basket. If you're Washington, the ideal scenario here, you're getting to the free throw line, opportunity for points with no time going off.
And now Cavaliers in the penalty, so Washington will shoot the bonus. See, Stevenson in, Mason out, so it's Stevenson, Daniels, Butler, Haywood, Jamison back to the starters with 8 to go.
You come with some pressure. You want to be aggressive. Stay with your principles offensively if you're Cleveland.
Daniels, a good on-ball defender. Turns Gibson a couple of times. District fans urging the Wizards on. They don't want to see the season end in 7:40. Shocking that it didn't go in. Butler to Daniels. What will they do here? Butler has taken Zerbiak the last couple of times. Gibson doubles. Somebody's open. But he couldn't get it through. And Gibson took it away. 3-on-2. Zerbiak at the line. Reads the Washington post. And then knocks down 3. Wally Zerbiak with a huge game from behind the line. 6 3-pointers. 22 points. A breakthrough game in the series for Wally. One of his best games as a Cavalier. He'll get a chance for a few more. Cleveland on its way to the second round. The Washington Wizards care about the community. The Wizards make giving back to the community a priority through player ticket programs, talking with students about the importance of education, fundraising for local schools, and like many of the all-stars in the league, helping build homes in New Orleans, among other things. Washington Wizards made a very positive impact on the lives of many children and their families in the district this season. It's part of a league-wide initiative from the NBA where caring happens. It's been a very good spring in this building. We had an NCAA first-round site here at the Verizon Center right in downtown D.C. The Washington Capitals of the National Hockey League had a very thrilling opening round playoff series that went 7, but they were knocked out in the first round. And now the Wizards, who've had a very good run, forcing a Game 6 back here, but have not been able to get anything going tonight. Trail by 19 as we come under 7 minutes left here in the fourth quarter. Zerbiak's pass taken away by Jamison. Yep, double dribble. Great call by Kenny Mallett.
Absolutely.
Great call.
It's in perfect position.
If Washington has a complaint, it would have been for a foul call on Cleveland, but that was a double dribble.
This is the play where no whistle happens, and it has to be a double dribble.
Washington, they cannot afford dry possessions. Gets one there with 6.5 to go. James off the curl. Ilgauskas from the wing. Joe Smith over the back. Doris, we were talking during the timeout. Karan Butler has struggled tonight after being the star with 32, 9 rebounds, and 5 assists in Game 5. You pointed out it goes back to a little bit of what we saw Game 1 and 2 against Butler from the Cavs.
Yeah, I mean, this is a guy who is capable, and we showed that the last game, of carrying a team. But when Cleveland came out, as they did in games 1 and games 2, aggressively attacking Karan, making him face double and triple teams, mixing where those doubles came from, he did not do a terrific job of handling that. In game 1, you had a little help from Gilbert Arenas. He had 24 points in limited minutes. And that's been the big discussion. Does Gilbert make this team better? Does he make them worse? Are they better with him, without him? He has to sign a contract first. But there are some adjustments to be made by Gilbert. There's no question. I think the ball moves better without him, so how he adjusts. But it's an interesting question moving forward for this franchise.
Brendan Haywood going to pick up this foul, his fourth, team fourth, after Jamison split the pair. Gilbert has the opportunity to opt out, the early termination option in his contract. Antoine Jamison is an unrestricted free agent after this season, so what will they decide to do be a large part of the decision-making process for the Wizards next year. They're thinking they can still stay alive in this one. After the James miss, down 18, they need him in bunches halfway through the fourth. Butler on the tape. He's had a very good quarter. He's gotten more aggressive going to the basket. Karan now has 16 points.
Yeah, I thought through the third period, in the early part of this, they were settling too early for jump shots. Now, go to the basket, efficient possessions. Cleveland does not want to put you on the free throw line.
Power jump stop by James. Gibson knocks down another three. So in game 4, it was Delonte West and Daniel Gibson with all the threes. In this game, it is Zerbiak and Gibson combining for 10 of the 11 Cleveland three-pointers.
So 3 of their 4 wins, if this is a win, which we expect it to be, they'll have had double-digit threes.
Roger Mason Jr. the three. It's a 16-point game. And the Wizards extending their defense as the 11th hour has more than arrived. Can you get it to 10 with about 3.5 minutes to give yourself a chance? Gibson, good job by Jamison, 6 on the clock. James on Stevenson. Hard foul Haywood, and free throws coming. Let's see, a conversation between Ken Maurer and Steve Javie of was it just a foul, or should it be anything more than that?
Well, you got to continue to stay on top of it if you're them. Make sure that after the contact.
That's 5 on Haywood.
So he holds him up there. That's exactly the play Z was talking to us about. If you hit somebody in the head, you can hurt them. Now, clearly it was a lot of body by Haywood.
Well, LeBron comes over to get something to clear his eyes, and Mike Brown says, let's just take the 20. Let's take the full timeout. Give LeBron a minute. As Max Benton, the athletic trainer, works with him, we'll step out. All right, Matty, that's over on ESPN. Meantime, LeBron, he's not crying here. He's just trying to get his eyes cleared. Brendan Haywood had some comments about LeBron and tears in advance of Game 6.
He's trying to hurt me. I mean, come on, man. This is the playoffs, man. He wears 23. He wants to be Michael Jordan. I can respect that. He's a great player. You saw what Mike went through. Mike got fouled way worse than this. You know what I'm saying? No one's trying to hurt him. Everybody's trying to play basketball, trying to play tough. Play basketball, leave it alone. Trying to hurt me.
Surprised Brendan went there on LeBron, but that has been part of the Wizards' frustration, that every foul on LeBron has brought what they feel has been more of a soccer-type reaction than anything else. They're saying, hey, the guy's 6'8", 250, 260, but, LeBron gets back up. Did you see this guy having fun with it? You know who's having the most fun with it?
LeBron, the guy at the free throw line.
23, 12 assists, and 10 rebounds. We'll send you a box of tissues for the summer, right? He's 9-9 at the line, too. He's been terrific.
And I'll go back to the first period when he did not get all wrapped up in that. He just stayed within the context of the offense. Was a passer.
Jamison diving in there. I think Joe Smith might have had his arms in there one more time and picked up his 5th personal foul. Well, free throws coming with 4:42 to go. Washington is tried in this series to be a physical team, which by nature they are not. And Haywood has been some of that presence. And you have to applaud them because they realize, look, we've been eliminated by James the last 2 years. Guess what? He's going to kill you. Try somehow, some way to be physical with him and slow him down. So they've at least tried to accept the challenge. They may not have the entire roster to do it. LeBron's answered.
I agree. And, you know, think back to a year ago before the All-Star break when this team was the best team in the East when they were 100% healthy.
Yep.
Again, you missed Karan for 19 games, 66 games without Gilbert Arenas. When healthy, they have the pieces to be competitive.
Zerbiak chased off the line, fouled by Mason. Wally will come to the free throw stripe with 4:23 to go. Great point, Doris, because last year's playoff elimination really carries an asterisk for the Washington side. Both Butler and Arenas were out, Butler with the wrist injury. And then you get to them this year, and they were not whole. Did win 43 games, one more than they lost without Arenas, a three-time NBA All-Star. And they found a way to win without Gilbert.
To me, that's a tribute to Eddie Jordan. I mean, because the guy didn't blink in the face of all those injuries. He just kept finding a way to win. He kept his guys encouraged and positive. He made the necessary adjustments. I mean, how many guys has he played here tonight? I feel like his rotation is a
7.
bare minimum.
Yep. Zerbiak has 24. This is easily his best game in a Cavalier uniform. He's one off his career playoff high of 25. Butler missed the three. You know, Zerbiak on an ABC Sunday game we had in Cleveland, right after his wife gave birth. He got traded, and 10 days later, his wife gave birth to their third child. They were back in the New York area where Wally's family is and where he's from. Smith a dunk. Off the feed from LeBron. Well, Wally kind of took a flight from Cleveland to New York that morning, or New York to Cleveland that morning, hit 3 threes and had 17 points, and that was his best game all year as a Cavalier until the closeout game here tonight. Off the Haywood miss with James getting the rebound. Rick Buchrey has 12 boards, 13 assists, and 24 points. You have more on Wally.
I do. Wally is finally feeling comfortable because after that great game, the fact is that he was separated from his family. He was separated from that newborn son. Was in a rental car forever. Missed his blue Cayenne Turbo. Also missed his turkey and cheese bagel sandwiches, which his his wife makes him every game day. And you don't think about these guys when they make a trade in season, but they are so used to a certain routine in preparing for their games, and when you disrupt that, their focus in this 2.5 hours is difficult.
It's a playoff high 26 points and more turkey, bagel, and cheese sandwiches for the next 2 weeks for Wally in the second round. Well, they will not celebrate the 30th anniversary, I beg your pardon, of the Washington Bullets NBA World Championship with another Larry O'Brien trophy. The Wizards will be eliminated by the Cavaliers for the 3rd straight year. Will the Rockets be eliminated and Tracy McGrady be eliminated in the first round once again? Coming up 10:30 Eastern over on ESPN. After the end of the Celtics-Hawks game, you will see the Rockets-Jazz Game 6, and we'll have a playoff doubleheader on Sunday on ABC. If the Celtics win, that will be Game 1 of the Cleveland-Boston series as part of that, and either a Game 7 of the Rockets and Jazz if Houston should win on the road, or Game 1 of the Jazz-Lakers second-round series. So still a little fluid here for the next few hours.
Houston was one of the teams, remember, 37-4 with the Utah Jazz at home. One of those losses was to Houston, then they got another one in the playoffs, so they've won in that building before.
Could you imagine if they go through with 6 losses at home and 3 of them are to Houston?
Unbelievable.
If the Rockets could win tonight? Yeah, that's coming up next here on ESPN. That's over on ESPN, coming up after the Celtics and Hawks.
What a difference Rafer Alston has made since his return to the series.
James with 3 to shoot. (26, 13-13).
He does it also nonchalantly, but you know inside he's just reveling in that last jump shot.
The bench about to empty for the Wizards. You know, the last teams to see their season end at the hands of the same opponent 3 years in a row. You have to go back to the 2000 through 2002 stretch. It was the Lakers eliminating Sacramento and Portland in the same playoff stretch. That's a foul given by Deshaun Stevenson to allow the benches to empty. As that will wrap it up.
That was not when Shaquille O'Neal called them the Sacramento Queens.
It was right after that.
Okay,
after that. So the Lakers are waiting for the winners of the Rockets and Jazz, and the Spurs and Hornets will start tomorrow. As both benches empty and all the starters, the key players in this series, go to the bench except for LeBron. Let's see, LeBron's at the line by himself. I don't know if this was an intentional foul or flagrant foul called. As he hits the first, Deshaun Stevenson fouled him. Oh, was it away from the play? Inside of 2 minutes, because we had gotten down to $1:59 left, so that's why it's the one shot in the ball. And then James will come out off a 27 points, 13 assists, 13 rebound, third playoff triple-double, and a career playoff high in assists. As you said, Doris, in our pregame show segment, which was very exciting for people to watch, that LeBron had to be even better than he was in the other games. And as he was in Game 4 here to go up 3-1, he did more than just score. There's Nick Young, I should say, on the drive. Dominic McGuire also out of the floor. And Nick Young picks up the foul. Remember, go back to 41-35, Wizards on top. 7.5 left second quarter, and it was a 21-2 run, really till about the 45-second mark of the second quarter. Keyed by James, and you were all over it. He was not forcing shots when he came back. He just took what he was getting from the Washington defense.
Well, you can liken it to Kobe to a certain extent. A brilliant offensive player, but this league is too many good coaches, too many good players to win series by yourself.
The rookie out of Southern Cal, Nick Young, knocks down the free throws.
Yeah, and my point being now, he was, terrific again. What about the supporting cast? Zerbiak made shots. Gibson made shots. The guys around LeBron contributed, made plays. They were aggressive coming out to start this basketball game. And you like their chances better as they advance when he gets contributions from those two guys.
Damon Jones has the ball. He hit the shot to win Game 6 in Washington 2 years ago. There's somebody else on the floor that's very important for Cavs fans. That is Sasha Pavlovich, who has the ball right now. Missed this entire series with an ankle injury after a foot injury kept him out for about a month or so after the All-Star break. Re-injured that left ankle second to last game. Mike Brown really wants to get him in practice, but there are no practice situations this time of year. The best thing that could happen for the Cavaliers in the next 2 hours to get their starting shooting guard, Pavlovich, back is for the Hawks to win Game 6.
That's right.
And the Cleveland series against Boston to not start until early next week, probably on Tuesday.
Terrific point, because even a guy who was your starting two guard on your trip to the finals, you can't put him in such a high level without some repetition, some rhythm in practice. That is a terrific point.
Sasha not shy. Takes the three. Alexei Pesharov, the rookie out of Russia, got the rebound. And Nick Young is fouled by Pavlovich. So the Cavaliers will face either the Celtics or Hawks. Who would have thought that Boston would be the last team trying to get into the second round in the Eastern playoffs? There's the story against those teams. And boy, LeBron was good against them too. What a surprise.
Yeah, no kidding.
Whenever it is, whether it's Sunday or Tuesday, if Boston wins that series, LeBron against the Celtics in the playoffs kind of has a ring to it. I think it'll be fun to watch. It'll be exciting. It'll be that next step. Kind of reminds me of the days Jordan would go and play the great Celtics teams of the 80s.
That's compelling storylines. I'm wondering how much pressure the Celtics are feeling. You're talking about an Atlanta Hawks team that won how many games in the regular season?
37.
37 wins in the regular season. Extraordinary that they're struggling with them.
Shot clock violation, so it took 6 games in 06, 4 games in 07, and it will take 6 games here tonight for the Washington Wizards to be eliminated by Cleveland. Eddie Jordan and crew will decide what will happen with Gilbert Arenas' early termination option. Antoine Jameson is a free agent. Cleveland will think about the next round. Mason with the hoop. These are all cosmetic to complete the box score. Cavaliers will have to get it across midcourt. Damon Jones will do that, and that will do it. This contentious physical series is over, and the Cleveland Cavaliers, for the 3rd straight year, have eliminated the Washington Wizards and will move on to the second round. Wally Zerbiak, career playoff high. He's the hero, and for all the nonsense and hard fouls and other stuff, a very nice scene here as most all the players with a kind word and handshake as they move on to the second round in Cleveland once again. Rick Bucher has the star of the game, LeBron James.
I am with LeBron James, third career playoff triple-double. It seems that all the new pieces are starting to gel together. What have you learned about these new pieces that you were able to activate tonight?
Man, we clicked in at the right time. Postseason is when you have to be locked in, and we have veteran guys that's been in the postseason, that's been locked in before. So it was a big road win for us, and it was good that we came out and played this way.
Wally Zerbiak in particular got it going. Daniel Gibson got it going. You got a couple guys on the perimeter who can knock it down. What have you learned about them that has allowed you to get all that going?
I think one thing that, Wally is starting to get comfortable with is he don't have to fight for shots. I told him just get ready to shoot. They're going to leave him open because I attract so many double teams. Daniel, he already knows because he's been with me for a year and a half now. But, when we knock down shots from the outside, we're tough to beat.
So what's the next step for this team?
Continue to get better. We're going to watch the Boston-Atlanta game tonight. And, Boston win, prepare for them. And if Atlanta win, just see the game 7 and then prepare for the next team.
All right. Good luck. Look forward to seeing you next round. Back to you, Mike.
Thank you, Rick, and we thank LeBron for the smooth segue to remind you that Celtics-Hawks game is currently getting set for the second half over on ESPN. Doris, nice working with you.
Pleasure, Mike.
Enjoyed it. And with Rick Bucher, Doris Burke, Kenny Wolf, our producer, Mike Schwab, our director, and our entire crew. Mike Tirico saying good night from the nation's capital. The Wizards' season ends. They've lost 11 of their last 12 playoff series. Cleveland moves to the second round against Boston or Atlanta. That game going on ESPN. Right now, the NASCAR nationwide race in Richmond, heading toward the checker flag. Let's take you there for the live finish. And here's Marty Reed.